Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. First thing, please pay attention to the comment section. There have been a lot of people who are pretending to be me, say that they are me. They're mainly making copies of my channel and then posting in the comment section that they're going to try and contact other people or for you to contact them, or they have money for you or for you to give them money or contact them on Telegram. And a number of different platforms. There's like 8 new ones a day. I can't delete them all. I can't stop them from posting. That's just what robots and people who are trying to con other people do. So if you see them, tell them your favorite curse word or give them the finger that's in the middle of your hand, whatever you feel appropriate. I only post my videos on here. And then I copy that link and I post it onto Twitter and onto Facebook. I do not use any other platform. I do not use Instagram. I'm not on Telegram. I'm not on thisagram. I'm not on so-and-so. It's only here. I make everything for free, and that's why I post it for here so that you can have the information for free. That's the point of the channel. So watch out for all of them. I keep seeing way too many of them, and I try to make sure to tell people at the beginning of every video that they should be looking out for them, because I have seen a lot of people who have been contacting them back or being like, hey, is this really you? Here's my email address. And I'm like, no, it's a robot. Don't do that. So, second point, almost said second point. The cryptocurrency space has gotten a lot of attention over the last 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks as prices have been going up. What's been happening is a lot of attention has been paid to my cryptocurrency videos, and I look at the comment section and a lot of people have been asking generally the same kind of questions over and over. So I'm going to have a couple of videos where I'm more so explaining things. Yeah, I guess that's basically it. So without further ado, let's jump right into it because there's so many questions and so many things going on. The number one question that I've been seeing a lot is people are saying, hey, I see this other coin does X, Y, and Z. Why aren't you talking about this coin? The number one thing I keep seeing is why Bitcoin and not Litecoin? So I'm going to go over as much as I possibly can to let you understand why institutions, banks, and companies are choosing Bitcoin and why Bitcoin is the leader in the cryptocurrency space and not other coins that are relatively similar to it. For those of you who don't know, years ago, the entire idea was when Bitcoin was trying to find itself in the market was that Bitcoin was a store of value, Bitcoin was this, Bitcoin was a new digital world, this, yada, yada, whatever thing you've heard about before for Bitcoin. That's what Bitcoin was trying to become. The narrative that we have right now is that Bitcoin is digital gold. The idea is that in the future, Bitcoin might replace gold, there we go, as an actual store of value, and therefore people would begin to take their money from gold and push it into the Bitcoin market. And this is where we get those all really crazy price predictions that we've been getting before. At the same exact time, Bitcoin has 21 million coins. Litecoin has 84 million coins. So Litecoin basically came to be as the silver to Bitcoin's gold. And that's where the entire idea from. There was a long amount of speculation many years ago that at some point Litecoin's price would be 1/4 the price of gold. The craziest part is that the people also believe in the real world that a piece of gold would one day, or rather a piece of silver would have 1/4 the value of gold. Has not happened. I do not think it's going to happen. Gold in essence is actually rarer than silver. That's the first point. That's where we kind of get that idea from. A lot of people have been bullish on Litecoin for a very long time, but it just hasn't picked up as much steam as Bitcoin. The second part is that you must know is that historically, traditionally, Litecoin has been seen as a test net for Bitcoin. I.e., Litecoin is I believe it's called a software fork or a something fork, basically has the same kind of base code. So as things are tested, usually they get tested on Litecoin. And if they work on Litecoin, therefore they work on Bitcoin. However, as time has gone on the next 4 or 5 years, people have made actual test nets for Bitcoin. So therefore, Litecoin isn't usually the actual testnet for it. We have Mimblewimble and a number of other things that are being proposed to be put on top of Bitcoin, and they're being tested on Litecoin right now. But usually in the long run, when something else is happening on Bitcoin, they simply test it on multiple different testnets because it's technology, and that's kind of how technology works. Smaller circulating supply also for Bitcoin, 21 million as opposed to the 84 million. Doesn't really come into that much play, but it does kind of when you're talking about a scarcer asset. So now that you got all of that, here we go. Bitcoin has the network effect, and this is why Bitcoin sees a lot more people using Bitcoin or flowing to Bitcoin because of the amount of people who are on the network. It's the number of people who are using Bitcoin daily, the number of new users, the number of new addresses, and the amount of people who are holding more than one Bitcoin. This has become something English. This has become something that's very popular over the last couple of 2 years. A lot of people, banks, institutions are now following these metrics to see if Bitcoin is actually being used. We had news last year that Bitcoin had, I think, done $1 trillion worth of transactions in value around the world. Wherever that money might have been going, it was over $1 trillion. Same exact time we got news, I think that PayPal had only done a fourth of that or a third of that. So therefore, Bitcoin had done more transacting over the course of a 10-year period that it had been around than PayPal, which has been around since 1999 or somewhere around that time, which is also then really funny because PayPal just added Bitcoin to their platform. So who's the actual winner there? People, when trying to figure out what a good investment is, especially if you were trying to buy something and hold it for the very long term, like institutions and banks, and once again, yada, 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 are trying to do with Bitcoin, you look at the amount of people who are using it. There are tons of people who are using Bitcoin. There are more users every single day. There's $1 trillion worth of value transacted before Bitcoin. This is when Bitcoin was in a lull period, before Bitcoin was really going crazy in price like we have right now. So we can only assume that the amount of value that's being transacted through Bitcoin has also exponentially increased. For the long-term prospects of trying to find something, this is very attractive to banks and institutions who are trying to get into the space. That did 100,000 worth of transactions a couple years ago, then it did 1 million, then it did 5 billion, and now it's doing $1 trillion. What does that mean for 20 years down the line? How much more value is going to be pushed through this system that we all have a chance to be able to get into? On top of that, a lot of people disagree with this. They hate the idea of it. They don't like the news of it, yada, yada, yada. Litecoin was created by someone named Charlie Lee. You can Google it and find him. He's a real person. He mentioned a year ago, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, doesn't matter, it came out of his lips. He said everyone within the cryptocurrency space should make it their goal to own one entire Bitcoin before owning any other coin. This kind of caused a bit of a stir in the cryptocurrency space. He basically had mentioned, here's how I viewed it and many other people saw it, that Bitcoin is the gold and therefore you should obtain one entire Bitcoin before you do anything else. This also caused a flurry of people saying, why'd you do this? Why'd you say that? You should be boasting about your own coin. It's your so-and-so. I believe he understands the value prospects of Bitcoin, and this is why he said it this way. I think a lot of money flowed out of Litecoin at that. First of all, it's not like there was going to be a point where Litecoin was going to overtake Bitcoin. That's probably never, ever, 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 ever going to happen. But I assume a lot of funds left from Litecoin when he said that to go into Bitcoin so that people could accumulate an entire Bitcoin. So saith Charlie Lee. Whew, I'm out of breath. Higher liquidity. When you look at the actual daily 24-hour trading volume, I'm not sure what it is for Litecoin on a daily basis, but Bitcoin is always leagues above that. 20, 30, 40, 60 billion dollars on a daily basis being transferred through the actual system. Even just the actual cryptocurrency trading websites and stuff like that. This is a huge amount of money when you're talking about transacting in value. You need higher liquidity because if you decide to cash out of the market, if tons of people are getting into the market and the market doesn't have enough liquidity, basically meaning enough of a cushion so that if you're trying to get in or out of the market, that you are not affecting the market. If the market's cap is so-and-so, is up here, and you're trying to buy in $1 million, if the liquidity is very low, you're going to skyrocket the price and therefore it looks a bit pumpy and dumpy. If the liquidity is maximum and it's huge, and you take out $1 million or put $1 million into the market and it doesn't move, it shows that it is closer to being a store value than anything else. And this is kind of the major prospects for Bitcoin. The liquidity is absolutely massive, going again once again to 3 to 4 times the amount of transactions that even PayPal is doing. And therefore, Litecoin is nowhere near that. So the liquidity part, the higher hash rate, there's just so many things. And this is, and I don't make this video to sound cynical or to kind of be like, well, this is what it is. It's more like I need people to really understand, because I feel like so many people don't. I keep seeing people in the comment section trying to get other people to go into their coins that these other people have purchased, and they are simply, I think, a little annoyed that they didn't buy Bitcoin years ago when I was talking about it, and now they find themselves stuck with a coin that may eventually go to zero, because Bitcoin is the actual name of the game. Higher hash rate. When mining these coins, they're roughly the same. I think Litecoin has a different mining algorithm. It doesn't really matter. It's the amount of hash rate, the amount of computing power that's being put onto these systems when you're actually creating them. Bitcoin's hash rate is constantly going to a new all-time high. We do have dips depending on the time of year, depending if there's a flood somewhere, yada, 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 yada. But it continues to tick up higher. This is very important because this means that the network is secure, hyper secure. You want a very secure network because if someone can perform something called a 51% attack, where they control more than 51% of the actual hash rate and or power for the network, they can therefore then print new Bitcoin, create new Bitcoin, destroy the Bitcoin network, yada, yada, yada. This does not seem possible, even with the actual knowledge that we know that China controls a huge amount of the mining hash rate portion. It's because, like I said before in my other video on the other channel, they got into it first. I think a lot of people are, I don't want to say jealous, but I think people are a little bit peeved that they got into the cryptocurrency space and made mining their major industry before other countries actually did. Bitcoin's hash rate is massive. It increases every single year, every single day, all the time. Once again, we do have dips in the hash rate. Doesn't even matter because it's going to continue going higher, especially as Bitcoin's price goes higher. More people turn on mining machines to be able to create more Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is at 10,000, you have this many people. If Bitcoin goes to 20,000, I also want to get in it as well. They start turning on more and more machines and you kind of end up going from there. The next point to be made is adoption. The adoption rate of Bitcoin is absolutely staggering. Over the course of this year, once we had the issues with everything that's been going on this year, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Bitcoin's price dipped like the stock market and then has skyrocketed up ever since. Since that time, my other channel, people have been asking, it's called The Modern Investor. We talk about it daily. It's a daily cryptocurrency news platform. The amount of every single day, rich people coming forward saying that they've bought Bitcoin, institutions coming forward saying that they've purchased Bitcoin, and it's never like they purchased 2 or 3 Bitcoin. People are buying $500 million worth of Bitcoin in one go. The amount of banks every single day who are talking about, we love Bitcoin, Bitcoin's not that bad, Bitcoin's kind of amazing, Bitcoin could take over the US dollar, Bitcoin is going to go to $300,000, Bitcoin's going to $1 million. It's every single day. The adoption rate of Bitcoin has picked up so much that there's no longer a doubt in my mind exactly where Bitcoin is going to go and exactly how big Bitcoin is going to be. I think all doubt has completely been erased. Any doubt that I might have had any other year before has completely been pushed aside. The amount of money, the amount of institutions who are announcing every single day, we bought $50 million, we bought $100 million, we bought $42 million. There was one company, they bought $225 million, and then $175 million, and they just recently announced they're going to be having another purchase of $550 million worth of Bitcoin. They said this within the last 8 weeks. Entirely. Just them. 8 weeks. Huge amounts of money. All this adoption is leading up to a, what's it called? Like a supply crunch, a shortage of supply of Bitcoin. And this is why a lot of times we have also been seeing that the amount of Bitcoin going off of cryptocurrency exchanges is also increasing because these institutions are buying up the Bitcoin and storing them other places and they're never really going to go back into circulation again. But that's an entirely different topic. They're buying Bitcoin. They're not buying BSV. They're not buying Bcash. They're not buying Lumens. They're not buying many other coins that I could also say, but they're also, of course, not buying Litecoin. We do know that Grayscale has I believe they have a Litecoin trust fund, whatever you kind of want to call it, but it is this, compared to the size of this room, that they're buying the amounts of Bitcoin. They're announcing all the time another 400 million into Bitcoin. They're never, ever, ever announcing we put 400 million into Litecoin. Another thing that people keep asking or people keep saying, and of course, yes, I know this, is that Litecoin is faster. That's wonderful. There are many other coins. For those of you who do not know, Bitcoin can currently do 3 to 5, that's it, transactions per second. I believe Litecoin can do 15 or 20 or something like that. Ethereum at one point is going to be able to do this many. XRP does 1,500. This does not matter. And a lot of people don't get that it doesn't really matter the speed of transactions. You want to know why it doesn't matter? Because it's a computer. It's going to be updated at some point. The entire value prospect that has caught on for why institutions are buying up Bitcoin is that it is digital gold. Same exact way with gold. First of all, The entire idea is that Bitcoin is going to take over gold, is that you will have a piece of gold that is no longer going to be used, and therefore banks will replace their gold with a digital currency. Gold definitely has less than 3 transactions per second. You have to take it, you have to put it onto a plane, you have to put it onto a boat. We are looking at a world where Bitcoin is going to be a brand new reserve currency. It is going to take over gold, and it does not matter if it's sitting in a vault or if it's actually being used or passed around the same exact way when you walk into a store and you want new earrings or you want new glasses or you want a new whatever. People buy gold glasses and you get it in gold. That gold has moved. Wonderful. That's absolutely fine. The same exact thing is going to happen with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still going to be used around the world. Doesn't matter how slow the transactions are. The main purpose of it is going to be a reserve asset. Even more so, once again, it's a computer. We know what sidechains are, we know what other layers are as well, and Bitcoin at some point is going to be able to process tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of transactions per second because it's a computer and it can be upgraded. I keep seeing that over and over. People are like, well, this coin's faster than Bitcoin. And I'm like, tell that to the institutions buying billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. They have done their research. They know exactly which coins, they know exactly how slow Bitcoin is. They don't care because the value prospect is that eventually countries are going to start buying up Bitcoin and using that as their reserve asset. If a country buys 50,000 Bitcoin and you as a company have 800,000, you are richer than that country. That's all they care about. It comes down to money. Same exact thing, everything I was just saying. The network effect, the amount of people who are on it. These the same amount of people are not into Litecoin. They're not into any other coin that much. This is why they're buying Bitcoin. What else is there on this list? I said everything. I covered the last 3 points without even having to look at the piece of paper. Look at that. The entire point is that's the answer. It doesn't matter how slow Bitcoin is. The value prospect for it right now is banks have been coming forward. We even have news that people are selling off their gold and their gold ETFs to push into Bitcoin. It's already happening. No one cares how slow it is. If you have to transact in it at some point, people are still going to do it. It's the idea that Bitcoin could, no one knows for certain, at some point in the future hit $1 million to $10 million to $100 million per coin. Should it absorb all the value of real estate and should it absorb all the value of gold? That's what they care about. And that's where we're heading. So all the other coins out there, some of them may exist, some of them may not, some of them may still be around in 10, 15, 20 years, but the news that we consistently get is Bitcoin. And I think it bothers a lot of other people because they go, well, this coin is already better. And it's like, it's not. It doesn't have the network effect. It doesn't have the amount of people on it. It doesn't have the same institutional support. People aren't buying it just because you scream really loud and say that this coin should be the number one coin because it does so and so and so and so. It doesn't make it the number one coin. So I hope I answered the question. You can pretty much blanket that over the entirety of every other coin, but I kept on seeing Bitcoin, Litecoin, Litecoin, Bitcoin over and over and over, the same general question. Yeah. If you have any questions you would like me to answer or that you want to hear about or that's something that confuses you or that you heard from a friend or that you have been wondering but haven't been able to say out loud, ask me in the comment section below. I'd be more than happy. The more people that really understand where this is going, the better it will be. How do I say this? I want to make sure that people are on the right train so that you get the money at the end of the line and that you're not simply lost somewhere being like, oh, I wish I had taken the correct train. All signs right now are pointing to Bitcoin. If you're not on the Bitcoin train, we will discuss this in another 12, 13 months if you got on the wrong train or not. As it stands right now, anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I do hope you all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.